Hello, good people, and welcome to the Fusing Shop. In this glass blowing video, we are going to be making a concentrator taster, which is a two-piece part. First, we're going to be making a one-hitter. I have some pre-cut tubing chucked up in the lathe, and right now I'm fire polishing the end. What we're going to be doing is condensing the glass on the inside. Right now I'm just flattening off that end to make it nice and flat and smooth, and just making everything straight and in line with the rest of the tube. We're going to go ahead and chuck up the tube into the headstock and tighten that down, not too tight. You could also do this easily by hand. You could watch this in more detail in our one-hitter video. And in that video, we do show how to do this by hand. What I'm doing now, since I preheated the glass when I did that polish, I'm going and heating just the bottom of the tube. And I'm heating in 3 different areas. Once on the middle spot where I want to condense the glass, and on each side of that. And I hold for a count of 3 in the middle, because that's where the glass is going to move the most. And on the edges, I hold for a count of 2. And as the glass starts to condense down, I close the tailstock in, making the glass go to the inside of the tube and closing it down. Just using the reamer, make sure everything is nice and flush. And boom, we have that portion completed. What I'm going to do now is drop on a dot of clear, and this is going to make it easier when we go to attach the little base that the concentrates go on. Again, this is pretty much your standard one hitter. So everything you're seeing here has been covered in previous videos. But if this is your first time and your first video, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming by. I'm very responsive to your guys' comments and thoughts, so please leave them below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe while we're on the subject. And yeah, always appreciate seeing what you guys are making and what you're up to. Now that that's done, we're going to remove the glass from the lathe. And this cools down relatively quickly. You don't have to keep this garaged in the kiln. So you could just take it out. And here's a view of that condensed glass. Oh, there we go. Got the camera to focus so you can see how nicely that closed down. And let's move on to the next part of the project. Here we are on the bench torch. And what we're going to do is take, I think this is a 4mm rod. You could use bigger or smaller, whatever works for you. Got to get the hood on. It's getting a little bit cold in the shop. It is in the 40s here up in New Jersey. So it's, not super cold. We're actually having a very mild winter this winter. So it hasn't been like in below 0 or anything, which is pretty awesome. Right now I am making a gather on this rod and gathering up a small ball of glass. And what I'm going to do with that is flatten it down to make the base that the concentrates will go on. So I have my tweezers for this. You could use smashers or graphite paddles, whatever works for you and whatever tool you have on hand. I went with the very wide part of these tweezers. Careful when you're using metal, because this can pick up heat very quickly and burn you. And I did smash it close to where I was holding them. So again, just keep in mind that the metal picks up and conducts heat much better than the glass does. All right, so there we go. We got the glowing ball. Just drop it down and give it a smush. And we got our little lollipop. Looking good. Don't want to give that lollipop a lick. You will definitely regret it. All right, next thing I'm going to do is make a divot in the middle of this, the lollipop. And that's going to be where we drop our dabs and concentrates. Concentrates, dabs, whatever they are. You could also use this device for a bubble hash if you have that. It is a little bit harsh because there is no water that it goes through. And boom, there's a little divot right in the middle. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you are using this, the smoke can be harsh. So yeah, like everything else, there's ups and downs to using different tools. Right now, we want to, yeah, if I could get this in the focus, it'd be great. We want to have that base be underneath the one hitter there, kind of like floating right below it. So that is what I'm trying to show in this clip. I'm doing not such a good job. The camera, I guess, did not focus. I thought it did. My apologies for that, good people. I am doing my best. All right, now that I have to first size it all up, and while I'm sizing it, let's do the dad joke for today's video. And the joke is, what did the seal with the broken arm say to the shark? Do not consume if seal is broken. That is a genius seal. I really want to be friends with that seal. He sounds like an awesome dude. All right, now that I have this all sized up, I'm going to flame cut this off. You can also punty up to do this. It's really whatever your preference is. I just decided to go the lazy man's route and just pull it off with the tweezers. And what I'm going to do now is get the rod hot and the blob that I dropped down on the one hitter before hot. And this is going to make it super easy to make this attach these two pieces together. And we want to make sure that this forms a hot seal, which means the two pieces of glass flow into each other and become one solid piece. Careful for burns, good people. I just got burnt there. So watch your angles and just be careful with how you're heating the glass. Burns are part of glass blowing. My glass blowing teacher says if he doesn't get burnt by the glass, he gets burnt in the kitchen or in some other way, which is definitely true. All right, now that we have that attached, make sure everything looks straight. You want this to look somewhat good. There we go. You can see how nicely those two pieces flow into each other. And now the last step of this is to bend that rod around and get that little platform underneath the one hitter. So heat up I heat up most of this rod and gently bend it around. You don't have to get the glass molten to get this to bend. It's relatively thin glass and will move pretty quickly. So as you can see here, it's not red hot, but I'm still able to start bending it around with the tweezers. And just keep reheating and bending slowly. It doesn't have to be in one giant motion. It could be done in little moves. Make sure everything looks good and straight and it's right underneath the pipe. And that is the completed piece. It's a pretty simple project. There you go. You can see how that works. And in this video that's coming up, I'll show you how this is used. So pretty much you take your butane lighter. I only have a lighter. So pretend that's a butane torch. You get that bottom nice and hot. As you see me waving it around. You take your dabber or tweezers or whatever you have, pick up your concentrate or your bubble hash or whatever it is, drop it on that little base, and boom, just inhale and you're good to go. Thanks so much for checking out the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.